Hi, and good morning, everyone. My name is Sarah Kettles, and I want to thank you for joining Daily Ride Dedications this morning as part of Texas 4000 for Cancer's 2020 Summer Ride presented by Abbott. At Texas 4000, before every ride, we take a moment to remind ourselves why our mission to fight cancer is so important by making ride dedications for those that we ride in honor or memory of. And we invite others to share a ride dedication for those that they love who have had their lives touched by cancer so that we may ride for them too. Ride dedications serve to fuel us on each day in our journey and let us know that we are not alone, that so many people's lives and the lives of their loved ones have been affected by cancer too.
Texas 4000 is the largest annual charity bike ride that takes place every summer from Austin to Anchorage, Alaska, with the purpose of spreading our mission of hope, knowledge, and charity in the fight against cancer. A ride dedication is a way that we start a lot of our meetings or a lot of our rides. This is when we dedicate a ride or a part of our ride to somebody who has been in some way affected by cancer.
A ride dedication is motivation to me because when I'm going up a steep hill or it's been a really long ride, the ride dedications that I hear from my teammates and myself are the reasons that I keep riding.
Due to the current circumstances surrounding COVID-19, it's no longer safe for us to do our typical bicycle ride from Austin, Texas to Anchorage, Alaska. So instead, we've decided to do things virtually this summer.
So we will be having our cycling events virtually. We will be engaging with our community virtually.
A virtual ride dedication works largely the same way as a normal ride dedication. Before every meeting or before every virtual ride, you would say, I ride for this person. And if you want to, you can go into a little bit more detail about how that person touched your life.
You can submit your ride dedications via 3 different platforms. You can submit a ride dedication via the Texas 4000 webpage. You can join our Facebook live stream, or you can join our Zoom calls.
The virtual ride will be going on from May 29th to June 26th, and ride deds will be held before host interactions in the afternoon and at 7:30 to 8 a.m. Central Time every morning.
Thank you so much for participating.
Join us at texas4000.org. Together we can make a difference.
Facebook live broadcast, which we have going right now. And for those of you on Zoom, you can write your name in the chat and you'll be called upon to make your ride dedication, or feel free to write your ride dedication and one of our writers will read it aloud. And at this point, I'd like to call up and into the broadcast some of the 2020 Sierra riders we have joining us this morning for ride dedications. Hey, Bowen, Annalena, Christina.
Hi.
Good morning, Sarah. Good morning, y'all. I'd like to start with the 3 of you with ride dedications. Christina, how about you? Do you have one you'd like to share with the group this morning?
Yeah, I have 2 main ones that I always ride for. I want to ride for my uncle who passed away from bile duct cancer when I was 6, and kind of my immediate family around that as well. They've been through so much and been so strong through all of it. And I also want to ride for my best friend and her father and the rest of her family as well.
Thanks so much for sharing. Bowen, what about you?
So I'm always riding for my grandparents. Both of them passed away to lung cancer when I was young. But today I'm also riding for my dad's colleague and her husband who passed away yesterday to COVID-19. Just want to remind everyone to stay safe out there, even we might be getting a little tired of it now.
Yeah, that's a really great reminder, Bowen, and I'm so sorry for your loss. Annalena, what about you?
Yeah, today I'd really like to ride for my Olpa. He was one of the original reasons why I ride, because we lost him to cancer when I was very, very young. And I know we're riding early enough today that some of my family in Germany is tuning in, and I would just be riding for all of them, my Oma, all my aunts and uncles. Want to be riding for them today.
That's awesome. I hope we hear from them during the broadcast. And I think that this is maybe my first time meeting some of you, but I'm also an alumni of the organization, and I rode in 2013. And it's wonderful hearing some of the original reasons that you all chose to join the organization. And I think this morning I'd like to ride for one of the original reasons I decided to join the organization. Her name is Sue Donovan. I considered her to be my second mother growing up, particularly in high school. And she was diagnosed with cancer when I was a freshman in high school and passed away when I was a freshman at UT. And seeking some way to like better understand that and give back after loss pretty early in my life was one of the reasons why I decided to apply for the organization. And so whenever I hear original reasons that people ride, it immediately brings me back to Sue and the original reason that I decided to join the organization as well. So thank you for sharing. If you're just joining us on Facebook this morning, you can feel free to leave your ride dedication in chat. And one of our writers would love to read it aloud for you. And the three of you, I'd love to know, I think for me, when I was writing ride dedications with my teammates really stood out. And there's some moments on the ride and certainly training for the ride where we had ride dedication circles that were just really meaningful and really helped us become closer as a team. And I'm wondering if any of you have an experience like that with the 2020 team where just a ride dedication circle really stands out. Bowen, what about you?
Yeah, so I didn't respond right away because I was trying to think about any one particular moment that stood out to me. And like, honestly, I'm not sure I can put a finger on one exact moment that really stood out to me. I honestly think it might be shortchanging some of the other ride dedications that we do if I were to point out one. But I think in general, I just love doing ride dedications because sometimes we're like woken up in the morning at like pretty crazy hours or like long days, long nights. I just think ride dedications are what personally keeps me going day. It's just like a constant reminder for why we do this ride and why we're doing what we're doing now. And it's really meaningful to me, just like all ride dedications. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd be able to say there's one that makes me particularly want to ride more than another.
But you're right. I think those ride dedications really do give you a sense of purpose, especially when you need a little extra to draw on some days. Annalena or Christina, any moments with your team or ride dedications with your team that really stand out for you?
I think for me, similar to Bowen, it wouldn't be one particular ride dedication. In addition to before Saturday rides, we share ride dedications before every meeting we have as well. And on our Monday meetings, a lot of times after the weekend of panhandling, people would come in with, just a list of names and reasons why people that they met during panhandling were affected by cancer and why, they and all of us would be riding for them. And that was really meaningful to me because, in addition to our team who has all been, closely affected by cancer, a lot of us, it's so, harrowing to see how much of the world really is affected by cancer, but it's something that can, unite us. So it's really meaningful to me to hear, the stories of sort of random strangers off the street who were, willing to share who they lost or who had been affected by cancer in their life. And so I really like that part of ride dedication, sort of just riding for everyone around us in addition to our team and, our loved ones who have been affected by cancer.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that.
I agree. I feel like I don't have one, but like one specific one. I do have like a couple on hand that weren't in like our team's ride dedication circles, but they were when I was panhandling because your girl panhandled a lot, and I just met so many amazing people who you just take 5 seconds while they're donating to ask who you get to ride for them, and I think it was really special when people just believed in T4K and like the mission as they're driving and like cheering for us. But also when they would just look at you in the eye and be like, whoever you're riding for, I want you to ride for. And I've shed many tears while panhandling, which isn't something I expected. But just to be touched like in a very short interaction is something that speaks true to T4K all the time. And then also like random times where I've been walking on the street with my jersey on my way to a volunteer event and someone stopping me and wanting to share. Well, this particular person shared about how he lost his wife and just the hope that he lives with since then. And yeah, just the support for T4K was really impactful.
Yeah. Annalena and Christina, you both, actually all three of you brought up these moments that are kind of unexpected when you meet somebody in the community through panhandling or volunteering or just generally being out with your T4K jersey on. Is there a moment that stands out to you, similar to what you were just talking about, Christina? You're like, I was just walking down the road and, in my shirt and somebody stopped me to talk to me. Any unexpected moments where you received a ride dedication that come to mind? While y'all are thinking, something that comes to me is that on the ride, I stopped at a gas station because I ran out of water and I didn't know where the van was. It was like in one of those like sections where we didn't have great cell service. And so I thought, I'll just pull in here and get myself a Gatorade. And so tired, really run down. And this guy came out running after me as soon as I left the store, asking me more about my jersey and the logo on the back, fighting cancer every mile. And shared with me about his mother, who had recently passed away earlier in that summer from cancer. And it's just those moments that you're thinking about a million other things, and then somebody brings you right back to the mission. And I feel like those moments are pretty common. So Bowen or Annalena, any unexpected ride dedications that you've received while you've been out and about?
Yeah, I have one. I remember one evening I was at my friend's sort of like birthday dinner gathering thing, and it was a Friday, so I was talking to people. I was like, yeah, it's like 9. I think I'm gonna have to head out because I've got my bike ride. Like I have to be up at 6 in the morning, be in the CPE parking lot by 6:45. And I kind of mentioned that it was for Texas 4000. And then later that evening, sort of as I was leaving, one of my friend's friends who I had hardly met, she kind of opened up to me that she had lost her mother to breast cancer just like a little over a year before at the start of her college career. And that really grounded me. I was kind of just mentioning Texas 4000 more as, a reason why I was, leaving this get together early. But for her, that was really, like meaningful. She had no idea that I was biking, and it meant a lot to her that all of us college students would, be doing this over the summer. And I know she would have liked to do Texas 4000 for her mother if she could have. So I'm always riding for her and her mother, even though I, kind of hardly know her even. It was a very unexpected thing, but I really cherish that moment.
That's wonderful. Yeah, those moments are like, you hardly know these people that you get ride dedications for, but you really do feel so close to them and hold them to your heart, even for years afterward. Thank you for sharing that, Annalena. Bowen, anything coming to you unexpected?
Yeah, definitely. I think the one that comes to mind is a few months ago, we were back in Houston. I was with a few teammates. We were still training over winter break, and we had stopped at like this CVS. And I was just hanging outside with all the bikes while everyone was inside getting food. And the lady drove up and was like, "Hey, what are you guys doing? Like, why are you wearing a shirt that says this?" And for a little bit, she like thought we were all doctors or something like that. And she just asked us like why we're doing this thing. And I think that was really interesting. She like started telling us about her family, about her son who is currently in the hospital, and I just like definitely wasn't expecting that. But it definitely, yeah, like you said, it just brings you back into the moment when you least expect it. Like I guess at that moment I was waiting to go to the restroom and like grab a snack from CVS, but was definitely a good reminder.
Yeah. Those moments are always like the right moment to bring you back to the mission, you know? Love that. We just have a few minutes left before you all are going to go off to your bikes and get your indoor cycling on. Thank you for your comment, Kristen. And any more ride dedications from the three of you this morning that you'd like to throw out there before we send you off to get on your bikes?
I'd also, this whole past week, I want to be riding for one of our teammates, Colin, who lost his mom. I'm, lucky enough that my immediate family hasn't been affected by cancer, and I just really want to ride for him and everyone who's lost, one of their parents. I ride for my parents for losing their parents, and just want to be riding for Colin and his mom today as well.
Thank you, Annalena. We'll certainly be riding for Colin. Any other ride dedications for you, Bowen or Christina?
I think I'm all good.
Yeah.
I have one more that I will throw into the mix for this morning. My parents' best friend in Dallas was recently diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer and has been moved to hospice. And I know it's really happened fast for my parents and certainly for Becky and her husband. So I'm really thinking about them during this really, really difficult time. Are you all excited about your indoor cycling today and any other big plans to get out cycling outdoors later this afternoon while it's hot? You're going to stick for the indoors today?
It's actually really nice outside right now, in the 60s or 70s, and I usually don't wake up this early, so I was like, maybe I should do an outdoor ride after this.
It really is a nice morning. Yeah, can't beat it.
Yeah, I think I'm enjoying cycling in the AC right now. I might also do, a couple loops, maybe around Shoal after this, but nothing too big. I definitely miss, us doing all our team rides on Saturdays and stuff. But me and my little group, we've sort of designated small groups that we're continuing to ride with to prevent interaction among the whole team, but just sort of limit our interaction to a few people. And we're hoping to go to Round Rock Donuts and back later this week. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's awesome. What about you, Bowen?
Yeah, I think the weather here in Houston is always pretty humid. It's a little foggy, but it's probably as good as we get for the next 2 months. So might spend a little time outside as well.
Yeah, it just feels like such a treat in late June to have weather like this. You really can't pass it up. All right, so we just have a few minutes left in this broadcast this morning. I think we're going to send you all off to get on your bikes and get ready for our cycling broadcast coming up next. Just a reminder, if you're just joining us, you can post your ride dedications at any time. It's not limited to this Facebook broadcast. And you can check those out at texas4000.org or join us in the next hour and post your ride dedication in the Facebook Live broadcast, and we would be happy to ride for you. But Bowen, Annalena, Christina, I want to thank you three for joining us for ride dedications this morning. And I want to thank everybody who joined us live as well for sharing your ride dedications for those you love and whose lives have been touched by cancer. We're going to continue to ride for you, for those you love, and for a cancer-free world. Please stay tuned, like I mentioned, for our live broadcast of indoor cycling with the 2020 Sierra Riders starting shortly. And remember that you can make a ride dedication at any time or donate to Texas 4000 to support the fight against cancer by visiting texas4000.org. And we want to thank again our presenting sponsor, Abbott, and all of our sponsors of the 2020 Summer Ride. We'll see you back here in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you. Hi, and welcome back to Texas 4000 for Cancer's 2020 Summer Ride Cycling broadcast presented by Abbott. My name is Sarah Kettles, and I'm your host this morning, and I'm so excited to be here with riders from the Sierra route. For those who don't know or who are joining us for the first time this morning, Texas 4000 for Cancer is a nonprofit organization that cultivates student leaders and engages communities in the fight against cancer. The organization's cornerstone event is an annual 4,000 plus mile bike ride from Austin, Texas to Anchorage, Alaska. The 78 members of the 2020 team had been preparing and training for their life-altering cross-country summer bike ride for 18 months. And due to COVID-19, they were forced to make the heartbreaking decision to cancel the 2020 summer ride to Alaska. The pandemic may have brought our world to a standstill, but cancer rages on, and so the ride must go on virtually. For the month of June, this team is riding to Alaska virtually. I'm so inspired by these individuals on this team. They've shown tremendous courage and creativity throughout this time. I'm here today to MC our broadcast, and I'm really excited to be here. I'm a board member of Texas 4000, but also I'm an alumni of the organization. I rode in 2013 and was the ride director for the Rockies route. And I'm going to be interviewing and chatting with the Sierra riders today as they cycle indoors for the next hour. Please post your comments and questions, and I will relay them to the riders as we go along. But first, I'd like to introduce you to those Sierra riders who are with us this morning. Hi, we have Annalena, Christina, and Bowen with us. You are all on your bikes. You look amazing. How's your morning going?
Good.
Good. I love it. I would love to start with just some introductions from the three of you this morning. Please share a little bit about why you chose to join Texas 4000 for Cancer. And also, I'd love to know where you are in school and what you're studying. Maybe, Annalena, we can start with you.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Annalena. I'm studying environmental science and German at UT. And I just finished off my junior year, so still got a year left, but I'm happy to still be in Austin. And I joined Texas 4000 for a lot of reasons. My family has been pretty closely affected by cancer. From my Opa, my Oma survived cancer, my grandpa Pete, and then of course there's countless people throughout my life, friends and their families who have been affected by cancer. So I ride for all of them.
Hey, Annalena, I think we lost your audio. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Annalena? I think we lost your audio. Maybe try talking one more time. No, we can't hear you still. We'll give you just a second to check that out, but I know you have some family joining us from Germany this morning, and I'm so excited about that because you shared about your Oma and your Opa and their connections to cancer. So it's really exciting that we're on early enough to have some folks from Germany joining us this morning. Christina, what about you? Where are you in school? Why did you decide to ride?
Yeah, so I recently just graduated, so I'm not in school anymore. And
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. It's a very anticlimactic PowerPoint. But yeah, I just graduated and I'm currently on the job market looking for a job. But I joined Texas 4000 initially because I knew about it since I was in high school. I had a lot of friends from high school who had done it, and it was kind of always part of UT. And I just knew about it. It was kind of in the periphery for a long time before I even made the decision to join. And then leading up to my own decision, I had like really close friends who did Texas 4000, and it was pretty abstract as far as like me wanting to do it myself. But I think the moment I decided was, I think just the sincerity behind the mission and like hearing a lot of testimonies from people who support it that were writers, but also families of writers and then writers themselves. I really do think it was impactful to follow specific writers like years before while they were doing the ride and just see the change in them, and then also the change that they were doing in the community was really cool. So that's why I joined Texas 4000. And since then, I've been able to understand more about, just like dedicate my ride even further to my family and also to my friends.
Awesome. I love that. Thanks for sharing, and congratulations on graduating. I know it feels anticlimactic in this moment. What are you looking for? What are you hoping to go out and do as you kickstart your career?
Ideally, it would be something kind of like creative solutions or like strategy would be ideal. So working on projects with clients and stuff.
I love that. That's awesome. Bowen, what about you? Where are you in school? Why did you decide to join Texas 4000?
Hey, so I'm going to be a senior next year. Like Alina just finished my junior year this year. I'm studying biology in school. And the original reason why I joined Texas 4000 was for my grandparents who passed away when I was really young. But in the 18 months we've trained, it's turned into so much more than that. Today I'm writing for anyone who might have reached out to me along the way, and all those who we've touched, like on our Saturday rides or panhandling or anything. For me, it's definitely, I wouldn't say more about anyone else or the other, but definitely a lot broader than when I first joined.
Yeah. Welcome back, Annalena.
Hi, can y'all hear me now?
We got you. You sound great.
Awesome. I'm not quite sure where I cut out, but I was saying that some of the main reasons why I ride are my grandparents who I've lost to cancer. And then I also really ride for my Oma, who luckily survived her battle, but who's in Germany right now. And I also ride for, all of my friends and their families who have been affected by cancer, of course. My sister did the ride last summer. And so I'm happy to be carrying on the Sierra tradition and was inspired by her as well to join Texas 4000.
That's awesome. And Annalena and Bowen, I feel like you both referenced something that I feel like is really special about Texas 4000, which is that you really only need one reason to join this organization, but every single day that you're a part of this organization and every day thereafter that you are an alumni of this organization, the reasons why you ride just continue to grow, and you continue to meet more and more people who become part of your network and who tie you closer and closer to this mission. So I appreciate you bringing that up, both of you. I know we have some of your teammates who are joining us on Zoom. Maybe we can see who's joining us over there. And I also know it's a beautiful Sunday morning. We talked about the weather and ride dedications, and some of your teammates are actually out on the road as well, which is awesome. So let's check in on those Zoom riders. Oh, hey.
Woo!
Can one of y'all point out who is joining us from your team this morning on Zoom?
Yeah, we got Clara on our top left. And then we have, is that Rachel? And we have Lindsay.
Awesome. They look great. Look like they're riding hard. Hope y'all are having a good workout this morning. And if you are just joining us on this live stream, we are going to be chatting with riders from the 2020 Sierra team all morning long. Please feel free to post your questions or words of encouragement for them, and I will feel free to relay along. But Bowen, Christina, and Alina, we learned a little bit about why you all decided to join Texas 4000. And I want to talk a little bit about the 2020 team. This is the first time ever that Texas 4000 has done a virtual ride. And I'm curious, just from your perspective, the last 18 months you've had in this organization and the last 2 months that you all have completely pivoted this ride experience, what do you think makes your team, the 2020 team, special? Go ahead, Annalena.
I think without a doubt, it's the resilience that all of my teammates have shown. I mean, we, even just 2 months ago, I think we were still kind of planning to potentially go on the summer ride with a 4-week delay. But of course, the health and safety of our teammates and everyone we would meet along the ride are, invaluable. We couldn't sacrifice that. But, we were still like counting, if there's a vaccine or something like that, we want to have a plan set forward. And so, I mean, I know Rachel's on the stream with us today over on Zoom. Her and all of the travel chairs must have planned like, I don't even know. I saw 3 different routes with cities lined up. They were contacting hosts in each of those cities, telling them all of the delay plans. And then ultimately we went online, and I think that just shows the fact that, school was online. All of us were already dealing with so many changes in our lives, but all of our teammates were still willing to put in the effort to try and figure out a way to go on the summer ride, and then ultimately figure out a way to put it online.
Yeah, I know that there's been 17 years of this organization. This is the first time that any team has done this. And I feel like among the alumni of this organization, the perseverance and dedication that your team has shown to this mission, particularly in these last few months as you've made this pretty big pivot, it's been really inspirational for us. So that's something that we love about your team for sure. Christina, what makes your team special?
Well, I really agree. I think the resilience since COVID-19 and having to constantly have creative solutions for things you didn't expect, it's been really rewarding it's kind of like another testament to see all of my peers and my teammates and just like how passionate they actually are behind the screen today. And just almost like nothing stopping them or nothing stopping us. It's really cool. I'm really proud to be part of that. I also think it's just really memorable to say that we, for some of the seniors that graduated, we did all of this virtually. We graduated virtually, and then we did a bike ride virtually right after. So I see the resilience in a lot of the seniors. And I don't know, I think another thing would probably be that we're really goofy, but I don't think that is just our team. But yeah, I really love everyone on our team.
I think being goofy, especially in the light of everything that you all have been dealing with, is something, it's a quality that definitely makes your team special. Thanks for sharing, Christina.
Welcome.
Bowen, what about you? What makes your team special?
I just want to similar what Annalena and Christina talked about, the resiliency of my teammates has really just kept going in this time. Definitely times when I felt hopeless, but just seeing everyone come up, like Christina said, with creative problem that we face, super inspirational, super motivational.
Love that. Thanks for sharing. Yes, we touched on, oh, go Sierra. Thank you, Izzy. Is Izzy one of your teammates?
She's actually my sister. So Sierra alum 2019.
Hi, Izzy. Hello, fellow alumni. That's awesome. Go, Christina. Thanks, Wendy.
I love you, Wendy.
Christina, is that Bryn's mom?
That is Bryn's mom. That's one of her my best friend / roommate / childhood best friend. Yeah, her mom was commented just now.
That's so wonderful. I follow Bryn on Instagram. She and I follow each other actually. So she's one of my connections to the 2020 team.
Yeah.
Jody says your perseverance is so inspiring. We can all learn a lot from the T4K team. Way to go. I totally agree. Thank you, Jody.
Thank you, Jody. I've seen her on a lot of our streams. Thank you for continuing to tune in at these strange hours.
Who doesn't want to start their Sunday morning with some coffee, watching you all work out, maybe not working out themselves, and getting a dose of inspiration to start their day?
Very true.
We were talking about, or we touched on the fact that like this is kind of the first team that's done a virtual ride as part of Texas 4000, but there's been 17 teams in the history of the organization. And those teams have built up traditions and have passed down those traditions and information along the years or over the years. And I'm just curious, maybe we'll start with you, Christina. What's a tradition that that you love as part of Texas 4000? What's something that stands out to you?
Probably, oh gosh, there's a lot. Yeah, I mean, I think we had like a lot of conversation about this earlier, but ride dedications, and then probably SAG, which is oh my gosh, I'm blanking on what it stands for right now.
Support. Yes.
Yeah, I would say ride dedications. And I think there's a reason why we emphasize those a lot, because it really does ground you and motivates you. It's something that is the preface of anything that we do, whether that's before a meeting or before a ride. Yeah, so I really appreciate that tradition. And then I also really like SAG because, well, if you're on it, it's really fun because you get to like cheer on your teammates and help them out if there's something wrong. But also whoever you're in the car with during SAG, just have a good time. And yeah, I don't know. I think all the traditions that make T4K really familial and personable is what I enjoy.
Love it. Bowen, what about you? Any tradition that stands out as one that you particularly love?
Sorry, I was muted there.
No, you're good.
But yeah, I think for me, definitely ride dedication course, but also like the early morning Saturday rides. I don't know if this is a tradition when you ride, maybe you could talk. But I actually personally really enjoy waking up super early on Saturday to those rides because, like Christina said, like you end up just spending a bunch of time with the people that are like around you, and it's really great. Definitely just super fun time and really just builds like the relationships possible.
Yeah, Bowen, you bring up a great point. I was emceeing this broadcast on Friday with some Rockies riders, and one of them brought up how important CPE is to her, and how CPE as like that parking lot space just brings so many memories of starting those Saturday rides, and like the smell of sunscreen is a smell that comes to her even when she shows up at the CPE at not Saturday morning really early. So yeah, those Saturday morning rides and getting up early for those are pretty special. Totally agree. Annalena, what about you?
Yeah, I think one really great tradition that we have in Texas 4000 is the team chants that they sort of pass on from year to year. Of course, our team, it's hard to do a chant over Zoom when all the audio interference is happening and everything, but a couple weeks back, the 2019 alum sort of organized sort of like a passing down of some of the traditions, what traditionally they would have done on day 0 that night, sort of passing down the team chants, the team finstas, stuff like that, just, cute little things like that. And that meant a lot to me, even though we're not, able to all be in a circle chanting it together. It's one of those things where, when I watch previous teams' videos and stuff, it almost brings like kind of chills to see, I don't know, chants are one of those things that, I don't know, it's a nice tradition to pass down. So I think that's special to our team and all the teams that have come before.
Yes, that's wonderful that 2019 put together a virtual way to pass down those traditions for you all too. I don't know if Rocky still does this, but there was a tradition my year, and I was the ride director of my route, so I can remember feeling a little bit like, oh no, when this tradition came up right before the ride started. But there was this old horse that used to be taped on the top of one person's helmet on the Rockies route. And it was called Hell's Angel. And the previous Hell's Angel would pick the new rider on the Rockies route to give that to. And it meant that maybe that person was going to be a little bit of a rebel that summer. And my teammate Chris got that. And he wore it all summer long on his helmet. It was just hilarious.
Oh, wow.
Loved seeing that. And you could see it, even though it was a tiny little horse, you could see it from miles away sticking above his helmet. So funny.
That's great. I'd love to know if that's still being passed down.
Me too. We'll have to ask some of your Rockies teammates.
Maybe on one of these Zooms, you'll see a little silhouette above someone's head.
Yeah, blast from the past.
Sorry, my laptop's about to die. I'm gonna go get a charger.
Sounds good, Christina. Let's go ahead and check in on Zoom and your teammates who are hanging out over there with us, riding their bikes this morning. And if you're just now joining us on Facebook Live broadcast, we're chatting with some 2020 Sierra riders this morning as they are cycling indoors for this first hour. And we're talking about all things Texas 4000 and their experience. So if you have questions or words of encouragement, please feel free to post them on the Facebook Live broadcast, and we would be happy to relay those to the riders. Y'all are looking great over there on Zoom. Annalena, any special training ride moments that come to mind with any of these 4 people who are joining us this morning?
Oh, yeah, I can think of some great rides with Clara over there in the top left corner. She'll proudly proclaim this, but she loves to sing whenever things get a little hard on the ride. So I remember one of our rides, maybe we were doing Dam Loop or Pflugerville or something like that. And we're going up a hill, and I am not the strongest hill climber. And she just starts singing. I think like she was singing like the Declaration of Independence, reciting it from memory. So that was a pretty funny occurrence. She's also our assistant ride director and is just endless support and laughs. And I love that about her.
That is awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Welcome back, Christina.
Hello.
We're just checking in on your 4 teammates who are joining us over on Zoom. And I'm curious for you, any fun stories that come up with training and learning how to ride together with any of these 4 folks who are joining us this morning?
Yes, I do. I'm honestly blanking on who joined me on this ride. It was so long ago, but it was an all-girls ride, and we were, I think it was Round Rock, and we were riding up a lot of hills. They're like sneaky hills, and it was really hard, and we were pretty tired. But I just remember, like, we all had this collective agreement to just start screaming when it got really hard to climb up the hill. So we were just like, every time we would have to endure, we would just like scream at the top of our lungs. And it was a really good way to release energy and just kind of like do full send when we were biking. So that's the memory I have.
I love that. Thanks for sharing. Bowen, what about you? Any special moments riding and training with any of these folks? I think we might have to unmute you again. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, yeah. My favorite memory actually is, man, there's almost too many to say, but I guess for Clara, the one time I rode with her, I think she was like screaming up the hill, but not really screaming. She was like rapping a song, and I thought that was super fun. Kunal, I don't think I ever rode with him in Houston, but there was like one morning I was riding with some other guys, and I think I might have just run into him randomly at the same park at the same time. So I thought that was pretty fun. Rachel, of course, favorite ride ever is Far West. That was a really funny story. And Lindsay, I know Lindsay struggled in the very beginning, but she has honestly inspired me on the bicycle by just like completely killing it in the last few months. Just like an amazing growth. And we've like rode together in the very beginning, and that was just honestly for me awesome to see.
That's awesome. I mean, Lindsay looks like she's getting her workout on this morning. And I love the stories that you both shared about Clara. She sounds like a great person to ride with, especially if you need some extra singing motivation behind a tough hill or climb, for sure. It's great to check in on all of you on Zoom. For Bowen and Christina, actually, Bowen, you touched on this, that yeah, not everybody comes to Texas 4000 having cycling experience. In fact, some people don't even know how to ride a bike when they join Texas 4000, and yet they make it all the way to Alaska after training and being part of this 18-month program. Christina, were you a cyclist before you joined this organization? And tell me a little bit about that experience, kind of getting up to where you are now as an athlete.
No, I was not a cyclist, and yeah, I just like riding my bike around the neighborhood. But I think my experience with cycling, the physical aspect of it has been like challenging at times, but at the same time, one thing that really humbled me a lot was a ride during training camp where I kind of started getting a little bit more comfortable on my bike, and I was feeling a lot more confident. So I was like, okay, yeah, like I want to go fast. And the reason why that moment humbled me was because I was riding with my teammates, and I saw how just like the varying levels of like your riding skills in the team, like in the ride group that I was in, and just seeing the importance of riding with a team is really different than riding for yourself. And I think, yeah, I'm really competitive, so to like be humbled and like slow down and be like, you're not doing this because this is just a bike ride. Like you're doing this with your teammates. You're doing this because it's something that involves the heart, and this is something that, yeah, like you want to do it together. I think that's been a really important lesson for just like physically cycling, is attaching it with the mission and also the camaraderie that you get with your team.
Yeah, you really can. We're stronger together. Isn't that right? Oh no, Christina, you're getting called out for your laptop dying. Thanks to Mia. Go Christina. Bowen, you are a fitness chair, is that right, for Sierra? Tell us a little bit about kind of your fitness journey and how you know, what your role is like as fitness chair for your team.
Yeah, so I guess like I did a little bit of cycling before I joined Texas 4000. As the fitness chair, I worked closely with the committee and also Ross to like develop a fitness plan for my team, something that would hopefully get everyone to a like a place where they could all complete the summer ride. And like you said, it's really interesting because everyone is on the same level when they first start, but we get to the same level and we all finish together. And I just think that's an awesome thing. In terms of the journey, definitely gone through a lot of iterations of training plans, and especially since then, when we first decided to move virtual, everyone's going back home to figure out a different way to keep everyone physically on track for the summer run. And of course, now we're completely virtual summer. We're no longer as concerned about like a structured regimen, but it's definitely, hopefully, still a big part of my teammates' lives from here.
Yeah, it's a big deal to prepare for a cross-continent bike ride. So I know that must have been a lot of work trying to get your teammates ready. I was definitely one of those people who did not have cycling experience, but I really leaned heavily on my teammates who did. So Bowen, I know you would have been somebody I leaned on back in 2013 when I was riding. Thanks, Christiane. She says, so proud of all of you. What a wonderful and inspirational group of people. Could not agree more with that.
Yes, Mom.
So your mom is awesome. Clara says, love
Clara.
you. And she's over with us on Zoom. Is that correct? Awesome.
Right.
Yeah, when I was applying for this organization, actually, when I got in, I didn't even tell my parents I was applying. And maybe some of you are like that too. You just do things and then tell people later when they happen. But I called him and told him that I'd gotten into this amazing organization. I was really excited to fight cancer. And he politely reminded me that the bike that he got me when, I don't know, I was in 6th, 8th grade is still hanging in our garage. It's still there to this day. And I probably put 12 miles on it. And he was a little bit confused about what I was getting myself into. So yeah, we come from a wide variety of backgrounds in this organization. Annalena, what about you? What's your journey with fitness been like? And did you have any cycling experience before you joined this organization?
Yeah, I knew how to ride a bike, and I think that was about it. I think the longest ride I had ever done was probably like 4 miles max. So joining this organization was definitely a fitness struggle, as in addition to all of our other requirements. And I think the best thing about Texas 4000 is how we are a team. Like Bowen and Christina were saying, you know, Christina was talking about, you know, reminding herself that people are slower, and I was one of those slow people. And I really appreciated how, I mean, especially at the very beginning, you know, going up hills, for example, is like a really hard thing to do as a team, because if you're strong enough, you know, you want to just pedal through and get to the top. You don't want to, you know, suffer, you know, going up that hill. But if you don't have the muscles for it, like me, you know, you go up, it's slower. And so on all of our rides, really, there would always be at least one strong rider who would stay in the back with whoever it was that was struggling that day and go up that hill together, even though clearly it would have been way easier for them to just pedal through, get to the top. But that's not what this organization is about, you know. It's about getting to Alaska as a team. It's not a race. So I really appreciate just how supportive our whole team is. Yeah, that's one of the great things about our team.
Yeah, I agree. And it's wonderful that, you know, being a team is so baked into the experience. One of y'all translate what this means for me from Clara. Pixar brackets, what are those?
Christina, do you want to explain?
Bowen, do you want to explain?
Okay, I can explain. Yeah, sure. So basically, in our Sierra group chat over the past week, I think, we've been doing sort of a Pixar bracket to narrow down the best Pixar film there is. So now we're down to our top 4, I believe, and we're all going to have to rewatch them to determine which one is actually the best. But I'm so happy that we're keeping up like those kind of social traditions in addition to this biking, since we're clearly not, you know, all able to see each other in person. But that's what Clara's talking about with our new tradition.
That's awesome. Ways to keep y'all connected while you're remote. where are you at in this Pixar bracket challenge? Like, what's up right now?
I think I know Ratatouille is one of the winners, or like one of the top 4. Do y'all know any others?
And I was like, we could chat right now. I don't know any off the top of my head.
I feel like Bowen is looking it up for us.
Yeah, just give me a few minutes. I'm looking back in our chat for it.
I know. So much.
That's the best part about traditions too, is like that they grow and evolve as the organization grows and evolves. And so I hope Pixar brackets stay around even as we move back to our road model versus virtual model in future years.
Yeah. So,
Jose says, hola, Christy.
hi, Jose.
Thanks, Jose. Thanks for joining us this morning. Hey, Scott. Says all of y'all Sierra riders are looking great this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Scott's the executive director of Texas 4000. It's awesome to see you here this morning. So you touched a little bit on kind of like the 18-month-long program. There's a lot involved in it: volunteering, getting to know your teammates, physically training for the ride. And all of that is kind of weaved together by the 3 pillars that make up this organization: hope, knowledge, and charity. And obviously there's several things that Texas 4000 does that you all do as a team to support each of those pillars. But I'm curious, which pillar do you align with the most and why? And maybe Annalena, we can start with you.
Yeah, definitely. I think when I joined this organization, I might have been doing it more for sort of knowledge, thinking about all of the programs that we host along the way. For anyone who doesn't know, so as we're biking from Texas to Alaska, in each of the cities that we stop, we try to offer a program or look for somewhere where we could host a program to sort of talk about cancer, what it is, and prevention, especially in some of the more like rural cities that we pass. And so I think for me, that was really important when I was joining. And now that we're, online and throughout this whole COVID pandemic, I think hope has really spoken to me because we are still sharing, knowledge about cancer, and we're still raising money in the fight against cancer. But hope is something that continues despite a pandemic, and you can share it virtually, you can share it anywhere. So I would say hope speaks to me the most.
Love that. And yeah, and things can change too, depending on the situation. And it's awesome to see how, you come to an organization for something and you end up getting something completely different out of it. So thanks for sharing that, Annalena. Bowen, what about you? Pillar you align with the most and why?
Yeah, so like Annalena, I think I originally joined to spread knowledge, but definitely in recent months, hope's definitely the pillar that resonates with me the most, just because of the same reasons that Annalena said. Like, hope doesn't stop if you face anything. Like, things could be as terrible, but you can still have stuff. You can still have hope. You still have hope. I think that's what's so powerful about it. Also, on a side note, back to the Pixar Final Four.
Oh yeah.
Monsters up, and then Finding Nemo. So I'm curious to know what you guys think about that.
Ratatouille, Up, Finding Nemo, and Monsters, Inc. are the top 4 in the 2020 team's Pixar bracket. So if you're joining us on Facebook Live broadcast this morning, please let us know what you think about that. And if you're in agreement with that top 4, if there are others that should be in the top 4 on the 2020 team. Thanks for sharing that, Bowen. Christina, what about you? Which pillar do you align with the most and why?
I would say probably hope. Yeah, I think that's the strongest for me because I see Well, I see it in my best friend, especially with her knowing within like one day her father got diagnosed really randomly this semester, and just seeing how that can affect someone overnight. And yeah, like as a really close friend in her life, also being impacted by that, but then also following up with immense hope and courage from her family, and seeing the resilience that they have is really inspiring. And so I just have seen the tangible impact of what hope can do, and how it changes a person. So yeah, that's something that's really important to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that that all of you touched on hope, and I hope you know that your team, the 2020 team, has been a beacon of hope for the entire Texas 4000 community for sure. So, in the same way that you all have seen the tangible impact that hope can bring to somebody's lives, I think that you all have brought a tangible experience of hope to many people surrounding Texas 4000, certainly Texas 4000 alumni for sure. So we appreciate all of you for that. Hi, Sergio. Sergio rode with me on Rockies in 2013, and he had many nicknames for me, Grandma being one of them, Team Mom being another one at many points during the ride. And I'll share a quick story, which Sergio was involved in from my ride. We were in very, very northern British Columbia, and this is the part of the Rockies route in particular. And I want to talk a little bit about the stops that you all were looking forward to on the Sierra route, because I feel like Sierra had many stops, which some of us on Rockies were jealous of throughout the summer. But we were in the period of the Rockies route where we didn't have many food options, camping every night in very, very rural areas of British Columbia. And so I was doing my part as a ride director to make sure that we had enough food to feed all of us until we were going to meet up with the team in Whitehorse about 5 days later. And of course, we're almost 2 months into the ride, so everybody is eating a bunch every day. And they knew that I was being a pretty big stickler on making sure that we were saving food. And so I was walking back from getting my shower, and I saw a bunch of the van kind of shuffling around. And this is after we'd already set up camp. And I thought, oh dear, what's going on in the van? And Sergio and a bunch of our teammates were holed up in the van trying to hide from me, eating a bunch of food that they'd pulled out of the trailer and trying to hide that from me. And I thought, you guys,
oh, no,
you can eat. But anyway, it's great to see Sergio here this morning.
Definitely.
That's great.
We just have about 15 minutes left in our broadcast. I know you guys have been working on your bikes for about 45 minutes now. Let's go ahead and check in on the riders who are joining us on Zoom as well this morning. Just see how they're doing. Also looking great. Just a reminder, if you're joining us on Facebook Live this morning, you can post a comment for the riders, words of encouragement, or a question, and I'd be happy to relay that to them. You can also share a ride dedication with us or donate to Texas 4000 at any time at texas4000.org. And if you're just tuning in, I'm joined this morning by some riders from the Sierra route. And the Sierra route goes many beautiful places across the United States and up through Canada. And so I'm just curious, maybe Christina, could you share a few of the stops that you were looking forward to this summer, and what's a part of the Sierra route generally?
Yes, so Sierra route has a lot of polar opposite climates, I feel like. So there's the desert. We go through New Mexico and Arizona and California. And then there's also beautiful mountains and the ocean and San Fran. And then we just have a lot more mountains and cold weather in Canada up to Alaska. So some of the stops that I was looking forward to, I really look forward to Lake Tahoe. So my friend actually, he's like a rider on my team right now, but for graduation he painted me this photo, or he painted me a painting of Lake Tahoe as a backdrop, and me and my best friend Bryn, who's also on our team, from the first day that we had our route announcements, and he like put together. So that just shows how excited I was for Lake Tahoe. And then I was also looking forward to the desert because I don't know, I've just like never biked in a desert before. It just seemed wild.
Yeah, that is awesome. I mean, once you get used to, I think, riding and training here in Austin, where it can be pretty humid, I'm sure the desert just feels like a breath of fresh air, just simply because it's dry, even though it's hot. Oh, Annalena. Can you translate for us, Annalena? What is this?
Yeah, that's my uncle Andy from Germany. He's saying, "Hey, Annalena, we're proud of you and the whole team." And then greetings from him, my Aunt Iris, and also their dog, Clara. Thank you, Uncle Andy. Vielen, vielen Dank.
That's wonderful. We have a global audience. So cool.
Yeah, I love that. That is one great thing about, the ride before. Sure, I could send them pictures and everything, but they were probably never going to see me, on my bike or anything like that. So that's an awesome thing about this. We're reaching a much broader audience.
Yeah, it's really special. What about you, Annalena? Any stops along Sierra that you were really looking forward to this summer?
Yeah, I think, of course, like Christina, I was looking forward to some of the picturesque things like Lake Tahoe. I was also really excited for some of the new stops that Rachel organized for us. So this year, for the very first time, we were going sort of more along the southern route. So going through El Paso and Tucson. So I was looking forward to that. I've never really been to that part of the US. And I was excited for Texas 4000 to sort of pave a new way there. I think that it's awesome that we go to the same communities year after year, but also reaching new places is really exciting for the fact that they've probably never heard of us. So I was looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah, and that's another reason why this virtual experience is actually really, really special for the organization, because we have an opportunity to reach so many new communities that we just physically can't get to with our bikes, no matter which way you slice it. But I agree, Annalena, it's really exciting when you get to take your team to a new community during the summer. Bowen, I'm curious your perspective, what stops you were looking forward to on Sierra this summer, but also your fitness chair. You were helping get your team ready for this summer ride. Which of those days were you most concerned about that you thought would be most physically challenging for the team to complete?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think there was one day over the summer, if I remember correctly, where we were riding over 100, or like about 120 miles in a day. That would definitely be the day I think would probably be the most challenging. As fitness chair, I wasn't really thinking too much about that, honestly. But I think to prepare for a longer ride, I think honestly beyond like 60 miles or so, my teammates and I were at a good fitness level. And beyond that, it was mostly going to be like a mental challenge. So my focus would have definitely been mostly on how we can beat the mental roadblocks and just keep on going. Even when it just feels like a slog and it feels like forever. But I think, yeah, our longest ride was like 120 miles-ish, if I remember correctly. That would definitely have been a huge challenge for anyone. In terms of favorite routes or destinations, that's what Christina and Anna talked about earlier, but I think our new house definitely was something that I would have loved to see. I think we were seeing in El Paso and going down along the border of Mexico, more unusual, which I thought would have been really cool. That would have been a new community that we'd reach out to. And of course, the staple Sierra stop, like Lake Tahoe, definitely was looking forward to that.
Yeah, some serious love from Lake Tahoe from the three of you. I feel like that could be a reunion ride for the 2020 team at some point. We have a comment, a Facebook comment from Fareed. Thanks for writing, Sierra. Thanks so much for being here this morning. Yeah, so I love that you all shared about some of the stops that you were looking forward to along the ride this summer and what was physically most challenging. Bowen, you brought up a really great point about kind of like the mental roadblocks, and that's a part of like any endurance sport. Sometimes it's more challenging mentally than it can be physically, right, to get through something. What do you tell the 2020 team as you were helping prepare them for the summer ride, or even the training rides that you were on? Like what helps you get over your mental blocks, and what do you suggest for people who are struggling mentally while they're working out, doing a long ride?
Yeah, so for me personally, I always just try and remember why I'm doing Texas 4000. I think when we're all doing like a really long ride, be kind of physically, and that can kind of like take over everything, to where like you only focus on the pain in your legs or whatever it is. But I think for me personally, I always just try to remind myself of why I'm doing this ride, and it obviously helps when we meet people on the ride as well, who remind us of constant that for me is always just like a breath of fresh air when I'm on the bike. And in terms of what I would tell my teammates, just remember why we're doing this ride in the first place, and that seems to always work for me. Maybe Christina and Liz can speak a little bit better on how that's worked for you.
Yeah, Annalena, how's that work for you?
I would say exactly the same thing, Bowen. Thinking about the reasons why I ride really helped me get over that mental block. I know a lot of people will tie something like on their bike, maybe a little ribbon, or they'll put a picture of their loved ones in a little pouch that they have on their bike. For me, I've got a little sticker of my dog, Tika, right on the sort of middle of my handlebars, just to remind me of my family and all of the reasons why I ride. And that's really what helps me.
I love that. Christina, what about you?
I have two ribbons on my bike. One of them is, it's like a dark green ribbon. It's to represent my uncle in green. And then I have a white ribbon to symbolize.
Oh no, we may have lost her feed there for just a second. Are you back with us, Christina? Oh, she dropped off.
No.
Bummer. But those two ribbons, and you have a sticker on your bike. I know several of my teammates had stickers, wrote stuff on our legs pretty frequently, which I know I've seen from the 2020 team. So those are all really great ways to keep your mind focused on why you're doing something really hard in the first place. We just have a few minutes left of our broadcast this morning. If you have any comments or words of encouragement for the 2020 CR riders joining us, please feel free to post them. But for the two of you with us, and when Christina comes back, I kind of want to wrap it up by talking a little bit about what you're going to miss about this organization and where you feel like you've grown as a leader and as a cancer fighter in the last 18 months you've been part of this. And Annalena, I think I'll start with you on that one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I'm hoping potentially to defer to the 2021 team, in which case I would get to keep a lot of, the fitness, talking about cancer, all of that. But I really think it's going to be my team. I already missed the weekly meetings that we had on Monday. I was talking to two of my closest friends, Dom and Delisa, who are also on Sierra. And we were just saying it's really one of those things where every Monday at 7, I'm kind of like, I don't have anything to do because this time is basically blocked off in my schedule, even when we don't have meetings for Texas 4000. So I'm really going to miss seeing my teammates so frequently. Yeah.
I love that. And I love that you're going to get a chance to defer to 2021, but it's definitely the worst part of the summer is saying goodbye to the team, no matter at what point that takes place, for sure. Bowen, what about you? What are you going to miss, and where do you feel like you grew as a leader and cancer fighter as part of Texas 4000?
I'm honestly, if I'm super qualified to say if I've grown as a leader or not. But I think it's what I'll miss the most. Definitely my teammates as well, like Annalena said. So many of my teammates this year are graduating, have graduated. They're going to be moving away, doing their, like, moving on to the next in life. And I miss that the most. Next year, I'm hoping I'll be able to defer, but I'm currently looking at my schedule if it's possible. It is possible that I'll probably be riding in 2021. But yeah, like I think, like you said, as far as just saying goodbye to people that you've met, it's not really about where you go or what you've done, but who you've been with.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you get a chance to defer as well. But I wouldn't say I don't know if you've grown as a leader, because when I was asking you some questions about how you prepared your team fitness wise, I was very impressed by the thoughtfulness and, like, you know, how well-rounded the program is and how you think about preparing your team physically for the challenge. And to me, some of those are hallmarks of a great leader right there. So I wouldn't discount yourself on that, Bowen. Christina, what about you? What are you going to miss about the 2020 team, and where do you feel like you've grown as a leader and cancer fighter in these last 18 months?
A lot of things. I would say that I'm going to miss, just like having a base to regularly contact everyone, and it's really different when everyone has the same goal, and we get to just talk regularly and joke about it and cry about it. So I'm definitely going to miss that, just having it in my daily life. And then I think as a leader, well, I think one of the most surprising things was we have ride leaders. So when, I guess everyone's a ride leader, but basically your role for that day, for that ride, is to lead the ride. So you're most likely in front for most of it. And you're just watching out for cars, you're watching out for the safety of your ride group. And I remember whenever we first started getting on our bikes, I was put as ride lead, and I have biked before, but I think just biking on the road is really different. And also having teammates.
No, I hope we're not having connection issues. Oh, we're back with you, Christina.
Okay. So I'll just be right here. But yeah, I think being put into a very foreign situation has always grown me a lot as a leader, and just being able to okay, I'm here right now because it matters the most, and I have to be alert and for the safety of my teammates, and it's not just about me. And so I think that's where I've grown a lot. As a cancer fighter, I don't know, that's such a prestigious title to be upheld on me. But I think as a cancer.
Oh man, I was so excited for that answer, y'all. Oh, we got you now. So as a cancer fighter.
Yes, as a cancer fighter, you're not doing it alone. There is a huge global community out there that loves you and that is compassionate and is willing to listen. And so I think being a cancer fighter has taught me to, just what actual empathy looks like, and what sincerity through language, virtually or in a very simple interaction can mean.
Yeah. Oh, another shout out from your mom, Annalena.
Thank y'all.
Way to go, Sierra team. Keep riding and keep the hope going. That is a wonderful note to close us out on. Christina, Annalena, Bowen, thank you so much for riding with me for the last hour and for sharing all of your thoughtful insights and answers to all of my questions. For those joining us on Facebook Live this morning, thank you for joining. And remember that you can make a ride dedication at any time at texas4000.org. Come back tomorrow morning when you can meet more riders from the 2020 team for ride dedications and cycling starting at 7:30 a.m. And you can donate to Texas 4000 or purchase Texas 4000 2020 team cycling jerseys and other merchandise, all to help support the fight against cancer at texas4000.org at any time. Thanks again to our presenting sponsor, Abbott, and to all of our sponsors of the 2020 Summer Ride. And for all of you, for the 2020 Sierra Riders, and for everybody joining us this morning, thanks so much for being here. I hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Sarah.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.